Thank you for being here. Welcome to my presentation titled Navigating the Educational Stage, EFL Students Prefer Assessment. My name is Nguyen, and I am a faculty member at Faculty of Foreign Languages at Tôn Thắng University located in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. First of all, follow the advice by Willie. I'm going to tell you the three takeaways from my study. The first one is that any type of assessment should be based on the course objectives. And then the second point is that we should have the student to develop the assessment literacy. And the third point is that we want to raise the student voice if we want to empower them. Now, let's move on to the table of contents. And here are all the sections that I will present to you in the next 25 minutes. So first of all, I will talk about the background of my study, and then I'll talk you through the method that I used, followed by the preliminary findings, and then the discussion section comes up next. And I will end my presentation with the key takeaways, further details about what we get from my presentation, from my study. Okay, first of all, the background of the study. Inspired by the famous quote by William Shakespeare, on the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. So I wonder if you ask yourself this question about your student. Are the student passive recipients or active agents in the classroom? So why don't we empower them by have them become the players on the educational stage? So let's encourage the student to actively engage in the learning process and give them a voice in shaping how learning is assessed and evaluated, because they are one of the key stakeholders in our institution anyway. Okay, so look at the way that assessment is being dealt with in a classroom. So there are two approaches. The first one is traditional classroom, and the second one is non-traditional classroom. And I believe that traditional classroom is very familiar with you all. So this one focus on the teacher-centered approach and the assessment of the learning rather than assessment for learning according to Nguyen 2015. And teachers use a traditional assessment tools such as multiple choice tests, true false tests, short answer question, and essay questions. On the other hand, non-traditional classroom focus more on the student, so adopting student-centered approach. In this kind of classroom, students become the active seekers of knowledge and skills, and assessment of for learning rather than assessment of learning, according to Nguyen 2015 and Nguyen 2021. So assessment for learning, according to Nguyen 2015, builds assessment into the heart of the teaching learning process rather than being something that happens at the end of the learning process. And learners and teachers have a role to play in here and are involved in the self-assessment and self-evaluations. The non-traditional classroom also adopt an alternative assessment tool, which is more like authentic nature or performance based. Now let's move on and talk about a program, a very interesting one. That is the choice-based assessment. So this is the learner-centered approach to assessment, and this was proposed by Kerr 2023, and this one allowed the student to choose to some extent what kind of thing, and also the process, like how, and also the time when the student learning is assessed. According to previous study, the assessment option will help the student to scaffold their learning throughout the semester, reduce the overall student stress, in tandem with improving their satisfaction with the course. And this also helps with the student development of higher order thinking skills, and also foster the student engagement by allowing the student to take a proactive role in learning process, as found in Kerr 2023 and Victoria's et al. 2017. And here are my 3 research questions. So the first research question focuses on the specific components that the student prefer to have in their final course grade. And the second question focuses on the most crucial component in determining their final course grade. And the third question focus on the least significant component in determining their final course grade. Okay, so let me show you how I conducted this study with my methods section. All right, so I used a mixed method research design, which is the explanatory sequential research design. And the study was conducted at a prominent public university in the south of my country. And the sample size was a little bit more than 300 English major students, university students, to be more specific. So there were 2 research instruments that I used. The first one is a survey form, and the second one is a structured interviews with the student participants. Okay, and here are my preliminary findings. Okay, the first research question, what specific components do university students prefer in determining their final course grade? And this figure gives you the answer. So I put all of the assessment components, assessment kind in the rank here, so that you can see that. So the number 1 choice is group projects, and then formal exam, individual projects, in-class participation, attendance score, in-class quizzes, homework, self-assessment tasks, and reflective journals. The second and third research question asks about the most favored and least desirable assessment tool. So the most favored assessment tool, probably you can guess the forms of assessment preferred by the student after seeing the answers to the first research question. Okay, so the first one, the number 1 thing is the group projects. So specifically, the student prefer problem-solving tasks or oral presentations. The second assessment tool that they prefer is formal exam, and then the next thing is individual projects, specifically the academic essays. On the other hand, here are the list of 3 least desirable assessment tools. The first one is attendance scores. The second one is reflective practice like journal writing, learning logs. And the third one is homework. Okay, so I also conducted structured interviews with the student participants, and here are what they say. And I'm going to tell you about what they say after seeing this figure. So this figure shows you the most components, all of the components that the student consider most crucial in determining their final course grade. Again, the number 1 thing is group projects, as you can see, formal exam, individual projects. So all of these 3 account more than half of the choices from the student participants, while the one with the least preference is reflective journal, just 2%. And here are what the student says. So one of them said that said this about a group project. I suppose the group project should be the most important because with this kind of assessment can test multiple characters of learners as teamwork, timing, discipline, skill to transfer knowledge. And next, I'm going to read a quote by a student about the formal exams and why formal exam was considered most crucial in determining their final course grade. This is what she said. Formal exam is the most important component in an ideal course. It identifies all abilities of students without internet support. So this student, one of the uh, concerns of the student is more on trustworthiness, reliability, validity of the assessment tool. And here is the answers from another students about the individual projects as the most crucial. I reckon individual projects is the most important factors. The reason behind is because it's a list thing is the list being easily affected by other factors such as shortage of time, horrible partners, etc. Okay, let's move to the third research question. Which components do university students perceive as least significant in determining their final course grade? And this is the figure that gives you the answers to that. So in alignment with the answers, the responses from the first and the second research question, this one showed that the attendance score, reflective practice, and homework are the top number 3 components that the student perceive as least significant in determining their final course grade. While the individual projects and group projects and also in-class participation receive higher, considered to be more important. Okay, now let's hear from the students. Okay, first I'm going to read a quote by a student participants about attendance score. This is what they say. I think attendance is the least important. Being absent does not significantly affect final course grade because some students might be sick or have other reasonable affairs to be absent. They could review the lessons or ask their friends for help later. And another student shared about reflective journals. Reflective journals should be the least concern because it's designed to be an optional activity. Students may not find it enjoyable or cannot see its significance, which lead to using AI or even copying others just to finish. The student was quite honest, I must admit. All right, and this is the last response from another student participants about homework. Homework is the least important one because students can copy the answers on the internet. Rarely a student will actually do it due to the amount of schoolwork. Okay, so that's what the students say. Let's see if the findings, the preliminary findings from my study, converge or diverge from what other researchers in the field says. Okay, let's move to the discussion. The findings from my studies are in alignment with the results or the findings of found in the literature. For example, formal exams or written examinations with essay questions, as well as the individual projects, academic essays, and individual written assignments are on the favor assessment tool by the students, as in Faulkner's et al. 2019 study. And similarly, with the reflective practices are kind of like being identified, being similar with the logbook or journal or diaries in that study. And Bùi 2023 as well as Wu et al. 2021 confirmed the same thing that they observed from their university students. Another point that I want to make is that most of the assessment tools preferred by the students are more formative than summative in nature. This is in alignment with Marin and Village 2021, and one of the preferred assessment tool by the students is a formal exam, and this one was under the influence of institutional demands because, for example, the universities, the research site that I conducted my study, formal exam accounted up to 50% of the student final course grade, and so it's more like the demands from the university that they attended that influence their choice of the formal exams rather than their understandings of the assessment. Okay, so let's move to the takeaways. And again, here are the three key takeaways from my study. The first point here is that regardless of the type of assessment, they have to be based off the course objective, the specific objective of the course, and it is advisable to combine formative and summative assessment rather than just relying on summative assessment like the traditional classroom practice. And then the second point is that educators should help the student to build up their assessment literacy, help them to become literate in assessment. Why? Because of a number of reasons as follow. Okay, the first one is some of the students in my study, they are more grade oriented. What I mean is that they honestly told me that if the assignment, the assessment tool, the score, I mean, if the assignment that they did was not graded, do not have a role in the determining their final course grade, they will not do it. They could not do it. So we have to help the student to build up a mindset of assessment for learning rather than assessment of learning. This is what Nguyen 2015 also advised us educators. And the second point is the group projects is the kind of assessment tool that preferred by a lot of students, but also less desirable by a few students. And the reason why I feel a small number of students did not prefer group project assignments because they showed some concerns relating to the trustworthiness of this assessment tool, relating to the reliability, the validity, and also social loafing and free riding. So it is vital for educators to show the student the how to set up a group, how to assign clear specific roles for people to work together, how to come up with the timing, and how to deal with some issues related to arguments or relating to late submissions of the group members and so on, so that everybody will benefit from the group project rather than experience some negativities from this kind of assessments. And another point is the reflective practice needs to be trained to the student by telling them the purposes of reflection, by showing them the benefits of doing this kind of activities, and also showing them the how, because a lot of students in the university, the research site, revealed that they were not very familiar with this kind of exercise. They did not know how to do reflection, and that was like the first time they did it. Also, self-assessment need to be trained to the student, because this is a fundamental skill for self-regulated learning, and this occurs at every phase of the self-regulated learning process. just with different patterns according to Nguyen 2019. And also, this is the strongest and positive predictor of successful academic achievement for the students. So that's why we need to pay more attention to self-assessment and have to develop, this skill for the students. And the last key takeaway is to empower the student voices by allowing them to share with us, share their experience of how the assessment form work for them, and what some challenges that they experience, and so on, so that we can make according changes and modifications in the program of study, so that they will be able to benefit from the assessment, like go back to the assessment for learning and assessment of learning. So I would like to add my presentation with a quote by Edutopia 2008. Assessment becomes even more relevant when students become involved in their own assessment. Students taking an active role in developing the scoring criteria, self-evaluation, and goal setting more readily accept that the assessment is adequately measuring their learning. And here are my selected references, and thank you for being here. Thank you for your attention.